ప్రేమ స్వరూపులారా, విద్యార్థులారా, I.
Greetings, InSAIde Scoopers. You've tuned in to your weekly booster. Your mission, should you choose to accept, is to scoop deep into your heart and reconnect. Welcome to InSAIde Scoop, a podcast that brings you practical servings of Swami's sweetest teachings. Guys, I am incredibly excited to be chatting with Sister Roshni Viswanathan today, who is, this is a mouthful, the SSIO Deputy International Young Adult Coordinator. But more importantly, she's someone who's always inspired me through her confidence, her independence, and her creative leadership. Say hi, Akka.
Hi Neera. Hi everyone.
Are you happy to be here?
Of course I'm happy to be here. I'm
Great.
so happy you're doing this.
Wonderful. So about a month ago, right, a friend called me with wonderful news that she was pregnant. She was experiencing intense cravings for mock meat, but had avoided it for health reasons, and she wanted to keep it that way throughout her pregnancy. She then narrated how Swami appeared in her dream that night and lovingly fed her mock meat till that craving was satisfied. And I was so thrilled for her and moved by the experience because it really captured how Swami provides, the love of 1,000 mothers. But after that call, something so unexpected happened. I started wailing and crying buckets. And the looping thoughts were, why won't Swami ever come in my dreams? What more do I have to do to be deserving of his dreams? I'm trying so hard to please him with my sadhana, but still nothing. Am I not progressing spiritually? Am I not close enough to him? Is he punishing me? So, Akka, please tell me, actually, why does Swami appear in our dreams, materialize objects for some people and not others?
I've honestly struggled with this for many years in my life. I don't know if I have stopped, if I'm going to be honest. I don't know if I still don't compare myself to other people. And I think it's just a very natural thing that we do always. We compare ourselves in every aspect, and why not when it comes to Swami, right? So first thing I want to let you know is that it's a natural feeling. Right. And don't feel bad for feeling bad. I've had the exact same experience that you've had, right? So ever since I was a kid, or ever since I knew Swami and knew the existence of Sai students, and going to university and school in Puttaparthi and being close and having those direct darshans with Swami, I've craved for that so badly. Right. And I remember this incident. It was 2011. And we had an amazing, huge Malaysian Chinese New Year Yatra to Party. And we got everything. We got performance, we've got sitting in front, we got all the perks. In fact, the whole Malaysia was there. It felt like Puttaparthi became Malaysia. Or Malaysia became Puttaparthi. You wake up in the morning, you hear people speaking in Mandarin and Malay, and you're like, wow, where am I? I just have to recalibrate this. So it was on this trip that we had prepared an amazing performance for Swami, and it was Chinese New Year, and all of us had a chance. And for me, deep inside my heart, I knew this was my last chance. I don't know why I had this feeling, but I knew this was my last chance to get personal darshan, sparshan and sambarshan with Swami. It just so deep in my heart, I knew it. And so it was Chinese New Year, Swami's coming out, we're all sitting, waiting for this to take place. And as he comes out, the scene is so clear in my mind, he's being rolled by the students. I was so angry. I was angry for many reasons. First, I was angry because it always seems that guys have closer access to Swami. Even if you're a Sai student, you get to go to Anantapur, you see Swami once in a blue moon. It seemed to me like that, right? And every special opportunity was always given to guys. So I was pissed off. I still have my diary from 2011 and they're tear stained because I thought it was unfair And I thought it was just like really, I was just angry and sad. And these exact thoughts came to my mind. Am I not good enough? The Lord of the universe has decided to be born in the planet at the same time that I am born, not like Krishna or Rama or something, but at the same time I'm born, and yet I don't get this opportunity. It's like freaking putting chocolate cake in front of you and saying, sorry, you can't eat it. You can look, you can listen to other people's experiences
like
about
how
how wonderful chocolate cake is. You can imagine, put yourself in the position of the chocolate cake eater, but sorry, no chocolate cake for you.
That's harsh. That's so harsh.
But that's exactly how I felt.
Right.
And so I'm sitting here and I'm crying so much because I know this is my last chance and I know Swami's not going to call me. And it took every inch of my discipline to not just get up and run to Swami as he came to darshan.
Oh my God.
But as this is happening, I have this flash of completely unrelated thought in my head, right? And I start thinking of my first bicycle. It was a red BMX bicycle, and I'm sure many of us in Malaysia grew up with these bikes, right? And they had the trainer wheels on. And as soon as I had that image in Kulwant Hall, while Swami was coming out for darshan, I knew this was Swami talking to me because I've never experienced this unrelated thoughts like this before.
Right.
And he says in my consciousness, I didn't hear his voice or anything, do you remember this BMX bike? And I tell him back in my consciousness, I know what you're getting at, Swami, but this is not what I'm talking about. I still think this is unfair.
Don't try to be funny with me. I want a direct answer from you. Yeah.
Nobody needs your lectures right now. Just want answers. I just want the experiences. And he says, eventually, although it was so easy and nice to ride the bike, you had to take those trainer wheels off. Right? And eventually you have to ride on your own. And in my mind, I'm saying, but it's so difficult to see everybody else riding freely without falling. And then Swami says the most beautiful thing in my consciousness, again, I want to be very clear about this. Just because it's difficult in standard 6 does not mean you go back to standard 5.
Right.
You stick it out, you work it out, you fail and fail and fail and repeat standard 6 again, but you can't go back just because it's hard.
Amazing.
And I start crying more, and all the aunties are like, it's okay, Amma, so we didn't get to perform, but it's okay. And I'm like, oh, you guys are
That's not what I'm talking about, but okay, thanks.
And then as I walk out and I walk past Swami's house, this conversation is still going on.
Right.
And he says, when did you start loving me? And I said, I don't know, Swami, like maybe since I found you when I was 9. And he said, it didn't take you until you were 26 years old to actually land up in Prashanti Nilayam and see my form. Is your love any more or any less after seeing the form of Satya Sai Baba?
Wow, God, that's so beautiful. And just so comforting, to know one that, so many of us go through the same internal dilemmas. And two, he said, yeah, you're not getting to touch me and what all these other boys are getting to do, but you have, look what you've just discovered. You have, a direct connection to me. Yeah, amazing. But Akka, Swami has often said that miracles are the first stage of his grand plan for self-realization. He says that the first step is he attracts us through miracles, which he calls chamatkar. And then he refines our hearts and minds with his teachings, sanskar. And then he prods us along the path of selfless service, which is paropakar, which finally leads us to self-realization. But I keep wondering if he hasn't even attracted me with the first step, like with miracles and the dreams that I'm yearning for. How does he expect me to have faith in him and progress and rely on like just the consciousness or the insights that are coming into my mind? How does he expect me to progress to self-realization if he hasn't even attracted me first, to have that faith?
That's a brilliant question, Mira, but I have a counter question for you. How are you at step 3 if you've not gone through step 1?
Just the belief through other people's
What?
experiences. And I guess unknowingly I've had miracles. They're just not the miracles, the grand miracles that everybody speaks of, and Vibhuti manifestations, the ones that are glorified. I haven't had those. Yeah.
So that's the thing, right? So yes, the magic should not be boxed up into certain experiences. Is it not amazing? I remember one auntie from SS2, Auntie Lian, if those of you in Malaysia know her. She said, you know how long it took us to discover Swami? And she told me this when I was so young. She said, don't you think it's a miracle for you guys how easy it was? Nobody needed to convince you. Swami didn't have to even make miracles. He didn't have to change your minds. He didn't have to do anything. Isn't it a miracle that it was so easy for you guys? Almost as though you knew it internally.
That's brilliant, right? It's almost as if my soul knows it. That's why I've been getting closer to him, but my mind keeps hijacking that trust that the soul has.
That's absolutely it, Mira.
Yeah.
You have really really nailed it. You've nailed it exactly. You've talked about the difference between the mind and the soul, right? So our love for Swami or our love for divinity is something that we can connect on a very deep level, but it is not something we can put words to.
I see.
So our mind grapples with all this information and input from outside and tries to box it up, saying, oh, if Vibhuti manifests, it's a miracle, Swami loves me. Oh, if I have dream, it's a miracle, Swami loves me.
Right.
But for a child to look at Swami's picture and say Baba, Baba and laugh and smile for no reason, isn't that a miracle to recognize someone that you've not known?
100%. Absolutely. Right? Yeah. So I guess then the problem is in the way that we're defining the word miracle, right?
Absolutely. That's it. That really is it. I love how you brought about that difference between the mind and soul, and how the mind is the one that is kind of limiting our definitions of miracles.
Right. Have you realized that people who actually have more proximity to Swami have an even more limited definition of miracles, and their imagination is sort of limited to what Swami is and how he connects to us all? Has that happened to you?
I wouldn't say that for sure, because I think everybody has access to Swami and his glory and his divinity in full measure.
Right.
But I have had comparative conversations with my friends who have been students of Swami, right? While I sit here and bicker and always have those thoughts, you're so lucky, look at these pictures of you and Swami. Oh my God, you stared into his eyes. A friend once told me Swami would come in after darshan, and then there will be a fanboy, literally a fanboy, okay, not a fan like a fan, but a boy that carries the fan and stands and blows his baju until it becomes dry. And for that boy, he's literally standing with the fan and looking into Swami's eyes. And I can only imagine what that's like. And as I am comparing myself and thinking about everything I've missed out on, he's comparing himself to me and saying, look at how you've experienced the vastness of Swami's glory by being away from him. Look at the miracle of you without any influence, being so devoted to Swami without needing any support of the physical form.
All of us have only finite experiences in this lifetime, right? We can't all be great grandmothers. We can't all have 20 cousins, a big family. We can't all be doctors or lawyers, but true oneness is when we celebrate each other's experiences, because we can't experience them, but we experience them through others.
Absolutely.
So then
I call it experience outsourcing.
I love
So,
that term.
I
So
have
accurate.
outsourced I've outsourced this experience to you, and so you got to be Swami's fanboy. And I feel deeply in my heart that experience was also mine.
Yeah, and that's true oneness, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's probably why Swami grants different miracles to different people, so that we experience the depth and the breadth of him just in this one lifetime.
That's so true. That is so true.
So, but Akka, despite all this, okay, so we've understood that maybe we're limiting this definition of miracle. How do we deal with the desire and the yearning to experience a specific miracle? Should I be suppressing it, or what should I be doing?
Well, suppressing desires is so not the way to go. At least for me, I put a disclaimer, this is my personal thoughts. I don't believe in that.
Right.
I feel like keep on yearning. Yearning is nice, what? Just like, just if you can continue to yearn, and there's actually joy in that yearning. There is joy. I keep thinking of Radha and Meera and how yearning became their sadhana.
Right.
So two things can happen. Either your desire get fulfilled, or you rise above that desire to realize something greater that you've achieved through that yearning.
Right.
There's that beautiful story of Radha, if you have time, and I'm sure people have heard Swami narrating it, where the Krishna comes to Radha at her final moments, and he says, "I'm so sorry, I've never come to see you sooner." And Radha looks at him and says that you've never been apart. I see you everywhere.
Oh, that's beautiful, Akka. As you're speaking, I'm reminded of this conversation between Arjuna and Krishna in the Gita Vahini, where Krishna is explaining that his mission is to protect those who are striving for purity and to punish the wicked. And to this, Arjuna is like, bro, you're supposed to be Prema Swarupa. Then why so much favoritism, for those who already have immense wisdom? And that's when Krishna says that he is the wish-fulfilling tree, the Kalpa Vriksha tree. He has no favorites.
Yeah.
But there are 4 types of people who pray who seek him. First are those who pray when they are suffering, so he helps them through that pain. And second are those who pray for power and wealth, and so he awards them those particular things. Third are those who want to realize the Atma and are reading scriptures and in the company of spiritual aspirants. Then he blesses with opportunities to do nishkama karma, desireless action, and he saves them from distractions so that they can concentrate on liberation. So in my view, that third stage is Krishna confirming your point, Akka, that through the yearning, he blesses us with the ability to achieve something greater, just like Radha, who lost herself in the yearning and found Krishna instead.
Yeah.
But Akka, amidst the yearning, how do we know that the connection is getting stronger every day? What are some ways that Swami affirms his presence in our lives, especially now that he's not physically present?
So first and foremost, there are no KPIs, right? I don't believe in that. You can't measure your success rate of connection to Swami.
Right.
I feel like the more I'm connected to Swami, not devotionally even, but just being able to pull out of situations and just look at everything with love and clarity.
Right.
And the more awareness that I have in the divinity that's inside of me, I know I'm using big words, I promise I'll break it down. That makes me feel that Swami is here, he's present. But he's really kind and very, very sweet. So he sends messages in the most beautiful ways. But if I don't want to risk giving you those experiences, because I don't want you to, again, box it up as if you find a quote in a book, that means it's Swami. I don't want to do that. I'm going to refrain from sharing my experiences of how Swami shows us he loves us, right?
Right.
But if I do, then again we're down that rabbit hole. So just you'll know it in your heart.
Right.
You will know it, and you will have such a strong knowing that nobody can discount it. You won't have the need to justify and tell other
Right.
people, hey, this happened, and that person has to tell you, oh, that is Swami. You won't need to do that.
Right.
You will know 100%. And it is very true that Swami can be found everywhere, and I have honestly seen him in the most beautiful places in nature. But this is what happened to me lah. So about 2 years ago, I became fixated on this Swami is everything and not limited to the form.
Right.
That even while I was in Prashanti Nilayam, sitting right in the front, I could not experience the blessing of being in that position.
Right.
Because I felt like, wow, what is all this for anyway, right? I should be detaching from the form. So for blessings that I had craved so much 10 years ago, remember?
Right.
Now I'm actually getting it, and I'm
Right.
like not grateful for it because I feel like, quote unquote, I've progressed past this love,
Right.
So I was like, and then I came back to Malaysia and I spoke to one of our advisors about this, and I was telling him, Anne, this is genuinely how I'm feeling. Why are we limiting Swami into this form? When Swami is everything, don't you think it's demeaning to divinity itself? Those are my exact words.
Wow.
That we keep limiting him into this form, and he just turned around and he told me, yes, Swami is everywhere. God is everything. But he has gifted us with this Satya Sai Baba, this form that acts as a portal for you to attain divinity in a faster manner. And it's something that appeals to you, right? So in my mind, it's like, wow, it's really like a portal, a doorway for us to just tap into. And he said, if you don't believe me, just do one thing. Go home today, sit in your altar, and look into his eyes. And just by doing that, you will experience peace. If you don't, come and tell me. And I did just that. I just went to my altar. I didn't meditate. I didn't say any prayers. I just sat there like two lovers would be sitting on a date looking into each other's eyes. I just sat there and I stared at Swami's eyes. And there was this immense silence, this deafening silence, and this immense peace. And it clicked immediately. Like, yes, God is everything. God is every experience. God can be felt in nature. God can be felt in the love of a child. He can be felt in another person. He can be found everywhere. But here we are presented with this unique portal, this unique experience where this form gives us the opportunity to just, in a click, connect. You don't have to work so hard. It's okay. You don't need to work so hard. Just sit and look into his eyes. You don't need all this immense sadhana. Do all that if it makes you happy. So if you're lazy like me, then forget about everything else. Just sit in front of Swami's picture, look into his eyes, and just experience that peace and that divinity.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Akka, for unpacking this topic with extreme levels of honesty. It's been so refreshing. So, dear listeners, it's now time to reveal our key takeaways, aka prasadam pills, that you can pop whenever you doubt Swami's presence in your life. 1. Redefine our definition of miracles. Not based on others' experiences or what the monkey mind tries to rationalize, but by trusting what our heart tells us feels like a miracle. 2. Miracles are not a prerequisite to faith. It is faith that helps us recognize these miracles. It is faith that elevates our perception and increases our receptivity to His presence in all shapes and forms. 3. The yearning for a miracle or connection in itself is one form of His miracle. 4. Our closeness to Sai can be measured by how much love we can bring to every situation and the awareness and clarity of our thoughts, words, and deeds. 5. Experience outsourcing is totally the way to go. Swami affirms his presence in numerous ways through numerous people to ensure we witness the vastness of Sai in just this one lifetime. 6. Swami can be seen in everything, but his form acts as a portal that instantly accelerates our ability to connect by simply gazing into his eyes. With that, dear InSAIde Scoopers, I hope you continue to keep your eyes, arms, and mind wide open to experiencing not just his visiting cards, but his permanent residence in your heart. Next on InSAIde Scoop, we're exploring something so current you don't want to miss. How do we respond when Sai leaders forget to prioritize Sai values? Until next Friday, happy scooping!